Howdy, folks. Welcome to Aubrey R. Moon Jr. Field for Old Dominion Athletic Conference softball featuring the visiting Averett Cougars and the Lynchburg Hornets. My name's Tim LaDuca. I'll be going through Game 1 with you here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Sun's supposed to be coming out soon. It was pretty cloudy all morning. We got patches of blue skies. I would guarantee that we're going to have full blue skies by the end of Game 1 here and probably before the fourth inning. Regardless, it is the 14-20 Cougars coming into town. They are just under 500 in the conference, 8-10. Some pretty good conference wins in there for the Cougars. Lynchburg, 25-9, one of their best records in the last 4 years. And the season's not even over yet. They're 13-5 in the conference. It's going to be Kaylee Dorsis in the circle for the Hornets, and she's their ace. She has been untouchable at times in the circle for Lynchburg. And the lineup that she'll be facing, we'll start with the shortstop, Mackenzie Newcomb. Just a fair warning, I'm also statting this game this afternoon. So any pauses, maybe I can elaborate and talk you through some of my scoring decisions, but that's what will be going on. First pitch of the day comes in at 1:28, and it's a ball. This one's upstairs. Kaylee Dorsis on this season. Her numbers are quite impressive. Had one of her better outings last time out, or 2 times ago. This is something you don't see very often from Dorsis, but she's fallen behind to the first batter. Junior from Chesapeake, Virginia, played her high school ball at Hickory, and there is a leadoff single for Newcomb, and that's how things get started for the Cougars.
Next up, center fielder, 17, Hannah Zabik.
Hannah Zabik now will dig in with a runner on, and if you get a chance to score on Dorsis, you got to take advantage of it as she does not let up too many runs. Look to move the runner over right off the bat with a sacrifice bunt. That one fouled back. The ERA this year is 1.46 for Dorsis. She bounced between being under 1 right around until the middle of March, 0.78 after her complete game against Sweetbriar. Here's another one bunted and fouled back. So this is more like Dorsis, and there's the 0-2 count. On the season, 94 strikeouts. She had 11 Ks against Shenandoah a couple weekends ago. That was her second double-digit strikeout game of the season and a career high for the junior. This one popped up foul. Madison Barnes is there to put it away, and that's the first out of the game. Zabik fouls out.
Next up, Cadence Woodliff, second baseman, number 12.
That one is in there for a strike. Cadence Woodleaf is the leading hitter for this Averett squad, batting .365. Throw over to first. Got her at first. That's a second out. Is Hudnall with the fast trigger down to first base. Sarah Watts was covering, and that's the second out. It was a ball on the pitch, but picked off there at first was Newcomb. Good play there. Hudnall is known to throw down to first base, but just not very often do you see the runner actually getting thrown out by the catcher at first base. 2-1 count here. This one just misses. Nope, just delayed strike call there from home plate umpire today. It's going to be a 2-2 count. If that one was a ball, I would have expected that to be just about the farthest extent that you can go without getting a strike there. This one fouled and out of play. Woodleaf staying alive here. 1 home run for Cadence Woodleaf. 9 doubles. Does not lead the team in that category. The runner who was just picked off first base, Mackenzie Newcomb, leads the team with 10 doubles. Fouled right back at me. Count remains 2-2. Swing and a miss. That's the third out. First strikeout of the game for Dorsis, but she retires the side. No runners left on. She faces the minimum here, despite leading off with a single from Newcomb. So Lynchburg coming up to bat here in the first inning when we return here on LHSN. Carly Hudnall steps in to lead off for Lynchburg in the bottom of the first after not an entirely clean first inning from Dorsis, but faces the minimum nonetheless. Starting pitcher here for Averett is Casey Stevenson, a freshman from Fredericksburg, Virginia. She starts off the junior catcher Hudnall with a strike. This one outside. Fouled off home plate. 1 and 2 falling behind here is Hudnall. Hudnall been a good leadoff hitter this season for Lynchburg. On base percentage of .367. 2 sacrifice hits. She slaps this one the other way. Fielded, but thrown away, and Hudnall's going to take a turn for second. Knocked first base coach Mike Jennings to the ground. And Hudnall's going to be on with the error from the third baseman. Except we may have to look at that one again as Hudnall, the slap hitter, got out of the box quickly. May have been a tough play. We'll put that one down as an error for now, and we will revisit it later on. Regardless, brings up the hard-hitting Sarah Watts. Watts, one of the best hitters in the ODAC, tied for the conference lead with 8 home runs. She was the ODAC Player of the Week as Lynchburg's last few times out. She's walked 11 times, 34 hits, leads the team. 10 doubles, leads the team as well, tied with Madison Barnes, who we'll see up next. She's in the on-deck circle. And already an 0-2 count, or 2-0 count, excuse me. Stevenson may be pitching around one of the most feared hitters in the conference. Three 0's the count. We mentioned Watts with those 11 walks. Also been hit by a pitch struck out 18 times, but you'll take that when you look at that 374 average, the on-base percentage hovering right below 500. And, of course, the slugging percentage is through the roof at 769. There's the first strike to Watts, a sophomore from South Boston who's been producing in this Lynchburg lineup since she arrived here on campus. Here's one hit the other way off the wall in right center field, trading places with Hudnall, and Lynchburg's on the board. It's going to be an unearned run at the moment till we go back and look if Hudnall would have beaten that one out. It's going to be a close play there to see if Hudnall gets the leadoff hit or not. But regardless, Lynchburg with a 1-0 lead. Here's Madison Barnes, now second on the team with 10 doubles, as that was Sarah Watts' team leading 11th two-bagger of the season. Stevenson starts Barnes off with a strike. We haven't had much time to talk about Barnes yet, or excuse me, Stevenson yet, as Lynchburg off to a blazing start. No outs in the inning. Already with a run on the board. Let's go check out Stevenson's stats for the year. 18th start for Stevenson. 4.57 ERA. .15 strikeouts. This one laced into left field. It'll fall down safely for a base hit, and runners at the corners now. Nobody out for the Hornets. Alyssa Taliamtua digging in now for Lynchburg. Her big thing in the batter's box from the left side is those walks. 15 walks on the year, helping out that 415 on-base percentage. Barnes is taking off. Going to be no contest as the throw went down to third base. Watts wasn't even off of third at all. So stolen bag there for Barnes. Fouled away. Fifth stolen base for Madison Barnes. She has not been caught yet in all 5 attempts. Breaking ball just misses the top of the zone. Taliamtua in a hitter's count here, looking to do some damage. 2 runners in scoring position, already with a run on the board. Nobody out for Lynchburg. This one hit up the middle. Second base is there, but the run comes across. Woodleaf makes the play at first for the first out of the inning, but Lynchburg doubles up the lead. 2-0 as Sarah Watts comes across after doubling in the first run of the game.
Now batting the DP, number 26, Bree Hodges.
Bree Hodges, one of the 4 seniors recognized on Senior Day today for Lynchburg. More than 4 seniors on the team, but interrupted there with a single to right field and another run coming across. Lynchburg's up 3-0 early as the senior gets a base hit RBI on Senior Day. Georgia Thompson now, sophomore, playing shortstop this afternoon. It's a split time there at short with Jessica Strickland.
Now batting the shortstop, number 14, Georgia Thompson.
Bree Hodges at first base, and it's Georgia Thompson now in the batter's box, hitting from the right side. Really delayed strike call here from the umpire, so if I make any mistakes on that, I will default some of the blame there. But I should just have a little bit better softball IQ to just kind of read the zone. I feel like I have a good feel of the home plate umpire's zone here, as swung on a pitch in the dirt allows Hodges to advance to second. Oh, 2 count here now on the sophomore. Another one in the dirt. This time, Thompson does not offer at it, and it's 1-2. Hit softly on the ground to shortstop. Newcomb makes the play, and that's the second out of the inning. Hodges stays put at second. Now with 2 outs, it'll be Addison Walter. She is a senior on the roster, but was not honored prior to the game. She plans on returning for a 5th season in the Hill City to play for Dawn Simmons. At least that's the plan at the moment. She was sure enough of those plans as to miss out on the hoopla before the game, and some really nice moments there for the seniors. About 50 minutes before first pitch today, read out some of their career accolades, a picture. Their families are out there. The team creates a tunnel as they walk through. It's really nice, and looks like the players got really nice mementos. Mementos may not even be the right word for it, but a big picture frame with some photos of their playing days. Maybe a jersey in there. We'll confirm that later. Hits softly on the ground, and Stevenson retires the side on the 1-3 putout. However, Lynchburg scores 3 runs in this first inning, and they lead 3-0 here on the LHSN Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Taylor Sullivan set to lead off for Averett here in the second as the Cougars come to the plate, trailing 3-0 after 3 hits from the Hornets in that first inning. Taylor Sullivan, you may expect her to pitch in Game 2. She's 9-9 on the year, 18 appearances, 17 starts, a 2.43 ERA. It's a really good arm for the Cougars, may be set to pitch in Game 2. She rolls over to the shortstop, and she's the first out of the second inning. Dorsis gets the first batter out, unlike in the first when Newcomb led off with a single.
Next up, the catcher, number 14, Shay Donahue.
Shay Donahue stepping in to bat from the right side. Only the 6th start of the year for Donahue. A freshman from Smithfield, Virginia. Even the count up there, 1-1. And Dorsis, when she's at her best, will just be barely missing with those pitches outside the zone. And keeping the batter locked in. You know, no pitches off for that batter in the batter's box when Dorsis is in the circle. And something we've kind of just given the eye test with Dorsis is her pitches increase in velocity, it seems like, the later on in the game. Just finds that second, third level to really empty the tank as she misses here. The count's 2-2. Already has 1 strikeout. Does Dorsis. And that's another one where she kind of starts the game out hot with some strikeouts sometimes, as there's strikeout number 2. Down goes Donahue, bringing up Olivia Jones. But the middle innings, the batters may be getting some soft contact off Dorsis. Not much, as of course we saw that 1.46 ERA. And a .94 whip. So less than a hit and a walk per inning by opponents while facing Kaylee Dorsis. That is something else. That pitch off the plate, but called a strike here on Jones, a senior from Mount Airy, North Carolina. And a good mix of North Carolina and Virginia on this Averett roster. One Maryland representative. That would be Hannah Zabik. But of course, Averett, newly addition to the ODAC last season, right on the border of Virginia and North Carolina, down in Danville. Fouled away. Jones stays alive, 1-2. We got a makeshift crew here on LHSN this afternoon. Not that anyone's lacking in abilities, but just really changing some of the positions that our student workers and colleagues are getting to do. Of course, not the first softball game that I've called this year, for one. We'll hear Evan Gates, who's a more polished announcer, broadcaster, coming up in Game 2. We got my main man, Henry Walls, on the director chair. He's doing a great job. He's locked in. I really appreciate the enthusiasm from Walls to my right. On the camera is Pearson Young. He's a hooper. 2-year starter so far for the Lynchburg men's basketball team and just an ace on the camera. And then how about our PA announcer and scoreboard operator this afternoon? Coming out of left field, and I guess kind of coming out of shortstop, is Kayla Hugate, an alumni of this Lynchburg softball team, helping out here on Senior Day. Much appreciated as the count has gone full here on Jones. You got to make do sometimes, especially when Lynchburg baseball taking on Shenandoah across campus right now. It's just a busy day for the Hornets. There's the third strikeout of the game. Kaylee Dorsis doesn't care how busy it is. All she cares about is striking out Cougars, and she does it for the third time in this game. And Averett goes down in order. Lynchburg coming up in the bottom of the second. Eight, 9-1 due up for Lynchburg here in this second inning. Just foul down the left field line. And it's Kaylee Hackett, center fielder for the Hornets. Kaylee Hackett really impressed last year in her all-conference season out in center field, making a lot of highlight catches. And racking my brain here through the 20 games or so we've played here at Moonfield as she flies out to Gates in left for the first out. Hasn't been too many highlight plays from Hackett this season. Yeah, she was on the end of that triple play that Lynchburg turned that was on SportsCenter, but not too many layouts in center field. And that's not a knock on Hackett. That may be more reading into the quality of the pitching this year. Just not a lot of hard contact into the gaps. As this one falls in left field, it looked like Gates was camped underneath it, and you're going to get the rare error out there in left field. Really hard for those outfielders to get errors, but with the way that Gates was camped underneath it, it's going to be hard to not give Gates the error there. And it looks like she did have that one tracked, because you can lose it in the sun and it won't count as an error. If you lose it in the sun right off the bat and you never see it, you can give credit to the hitter there, as you're supposed to, give the benefit of the doubt to the hitter. But with this one, Gates saw that one, and just at the last moment, looks like was not able to come up with it. This one slapped up the middle by Hudnall, and the lineup is turned over here with one out. Runners at the corners for Sarah Watts.
Now batting the second baseman, number 7, Sarah Watts.
So we already gave you the rundown on Watts. She's the leading home run hitter in the conference. That's something to be expected. A little strikeout threat with the 18 on the year, but that's not too high. She didn't strike out at all last week. As the stolen base goes down, it hits Hudnall, and she's going to take third now. And coming in on the double steal is Powell. So 2 stolen bases and a tough luck error on the catcher, as that advances Hudnall to third. Powell's run is earned despite the error. So here's Watts now. As this ball gets away, the throw home is not in time, and Hudnall comes around to score on the wild pitch. So the RBI chances have gone away for Sarah Watts, and that's something to note, as the 8 home runs she's hit this year, 6 of them have been solo home runs. And you're not going to, critique Watts. Why don't you hit any home runs with runners on base? It's kind of just luck of the draw. It's just funny that she had 2 runners on when this plate appearance started. And then now she's down 1-2 and there's no runners on. However, she'll be happy with the fact that 2 runs have come across to score. The 1-2 count here from Stevenson. Swung on and lined into right field. That one is called foul by the first base umpire. Watts was already taking her turn to second base, looking for her second double of the game. But she'll have to get back in, pick up the weapon, and try it again here. She defends again, 1-2 at the plate. Expands the zone and fouls it off nicely to stay alive. Sixth pitch of the at-bat coming up. This one's high, but she still expands the zone and lines this one into center field. And that's a base hit for Watts. Brings up Madison Barnes.
Now batting the first baseman, number 16.
That'll change Hudnall's run to being earned now, as that base hit would have driven in Hudnall. So an RBI for Watts. No, not an RBI for Watts, but it would have been if the wild pitch wasn't a thing. That's the scorer's, my scorer's brain going on here. I'm getting mixed up. I got to turn my scorer's brain off when I speak. Keep my broadcaster brain on. Some serious multitasking going on here at Moon Field. But the task at hand right now for Stevenson is trying to limit the damage here as 2 runs are across. Floated out into left, and Gates this time is able to make the play. 2 are away.
Now batting the left fielder, number 17, Alyssa Taliamtua.
And actually, that run from Powell is not going to be earned, as she reached on the error, so she was never supposed to be on base. Third on to second base, and that's another stolen base for Lynchburg, as it's Watts this time taking a bag and advancing the 60 feet. Gets a runner into scoring position for Taliamtua, who entering today had 20 RBI on the year, which is a team high. And that's to be expected from your 4-hole hitter, especially with the potent on-base ability of the 3 batters that have been hitting ahead of Taliamtua on this season so far. Fouled away. Ball in the dirt, advancing to third base is Watts. And now just 60 feet away from the 6th run of the game for Lynchburg. Another ball in the dirt works the count full. And as we mentioned, 15 walks on the year for Taliamtua, making her 34th start of the year. Called strike 3, and that's how the second inning will end, but not before Lynchburg scores 2 more and leads 5-0 here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Leading off the 3rd inning here for Averett is Abby Owen, a sophomore from Chatham, Virginia.
Number 8, Abby Owen.
A little bit about me. I'm from upstate New York, and learning some of these Virginia city names has been difficult. But I think I've become a seasoned pro. At this point, Chatham, Virginia. Fouled away, and here's the Kaylee Dorsis that fans have come to know. Is quickly down 0-2. Is the 7-hole hitter for Averett. 7-8-9 due up, as Dorsis has faced the minimum so far despite a first inning leadoff single from Newcomb. That was erased by Carly Hudnall and Sarah Watts at first base on the pickoff. Two-two count. Abby Owen batting .391 in fairly limited work. As limited as 24 at-bats can be, but when you compare that to the team leader in Mackenzie Newcomb at 114, yeah, definitely limited work. The 9th start, though, for Abby Owen. She's played in 18 games and done some damage. A home run and 2 doubles, and the foul tip is caught, and that's strikeout and out number 1.
Next up, the left fielder, number 9, Kaylee Gates.
Kaylee Gates steps into the box, batting from the left side. First pitch in there for a strike. We better pull up the live stats so that I can keep track of these Kaylee Dorsis strikeouts. As despite only having 1 in the first inning, it seems like she's starting to really rack them up here. 11 against Shenandoah. That's a career high. That came on April 7th. Last 2 weeks ago now, on a Sunday. That was a turbulent, I guess, roller coaster weekend for the Hornets, who swept Shenandoah on Sunday, but did lose to Eastern Mennonite earlier that week, the day before. They beat the Royals 3-1 and then fell to EMU 10-2. That's one of their 5 conference losses, and Lynchburg hoping that one doesn't come back to bite them here later in the season. Some really good conference wins, though, however, for the Hornets. Sweeping Roanoke. You took one from Virginia Wesleyan, who is the number 12 team in the country. Sweeping Randolph, which is something they haven't done in several seasons, is going to really be beneficial for Lynchburg. The 2 losses on the road against Guilford, splitting with Bridgewater, and sweeping Ferrum and Sweetbriar. So that's how the ODAC schedule has shaken out for Lynchburg. Also a lot of really good non-conference wins for a Lynchburg squad that started out 9-0, 10-0 to start the year. Three-two count here on Gates. Kaylee Gates is a sophomore from North Carolina who did make an error in the bottom half of the second inning in left field. Swing and a miss, another strikeout. Plays completed at first base. And it'll bring up the 9-hole hitter,
Now batting, the third baseman,
Hannah Jones.
Hannah Jones.
Jones from Knott's Island, North Carolina. First pitch in there for a strike, so all 3 batters have started behind 0-1 against Dorsis here in the 3rd inning, who has 5 strikeouts in the game. 1 for every run Lynchburg scored so far. This one won't be a strikeout. It's hit softly on the ground to Barnes at first, who makes the play. And through 3 innings, Dorsis has faced the minimum here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Bree Hodges is going to lead off the 3rd inning for Lynchburg as they lead 5-0 over Averett. The day is done. for Casey Stevenson and Averett. It'll bring in the new pitcher, Abby Sutton, who is making her 16th relief appearance, sporting a 6.03 ERA. This one into right field again. Right fielder going back on it, and the play is made by Olivia Jones out there in deep right just before the warning track. That's a loud first out to Hodges, who goes to right field once more. This time it's caught by Jones. Georgia Thompson digging in now. First pitch in there for a ball. Abby Sutton, a freshman from Graham, North Carolina. Fouled away. Pitch is high. Sutton has struck out 2 in several appearances, most recently in her last time out against Guilford, 2 innings with 2 strikeouts. Her longest outing of the year, she's gone 4 innings twice, most recently on April 6th against Randolph-Macon. Probably looking for an extending outing is the head coach in her second season, Carol Oberhelman. This one popped up on the infield. Play is made by Owen at first. And with 2 outs, Addison Walter will bat. Both of her plate appearances have been with 2 outs so far.
Senior number 3, Addison Walter.
Quickly 2-0 here on Walter. This one's across for the first strike on the senior from Mechanicsville, Virginia. That one catches the inside part of the plate, 2-2. And really exciting news that I want to share with you all about some Lynchburg sports, but don't want to start it with 2 outs, especially with 2 strikes. So someone remind me to tell some really important, exciting news when we begin the 4th inning. Because right now it's a full count on Addison Walter. And Sutton, who came in relief of Stevenson in this inning, has pitched well so far. But she'll have her first base runner, and that is Addison Walter. So a runner on now for the 8-hole hitter and the center fielder, Kaylee Hackett. And what did I say? Before the 4th inning, we'd have blue skies, and we do. And it's already played a factor, as that may have caused Gates' error in left field in the last half inning. This one hit out to Gates. She lays out and makes a great play in left. Redeems herself with a diving effort out there in left is Gates, and that's how the side is retired. Lynchburg still leads it 5-0 here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Top of the order coming up here for Averett. It's Newcomb who singled in the first to lead off the game, but was quickly erased at first base, picked off. And that's why top of the order is coming up here in the fourth for Averett. Dorsis with 6 strikeouts has faced the minimum. And I did not forget, exciting news here on LHSN is the Lynchburg equestrian team down in Florida this morning won their 3rd consecutive NCEA single discipline national championship, defeating Sweetbriar by a score of 6-3. So congratulations to the Hornets, who have just purely cemented themselves as a dynasty in the equestrian world, in the equine athletic sphere. Head coach Philliam Williamson has really just brought that program to new heights. Fallon Belcastro, the high point rider, both fences, over fences and on the flat. Just a fantastic year from the ODAC Rider of the Year. And just can't say enough amazing things about the equestrian team and what they've done, just establishing themselves as, you know, one of the premier programs here at Lynchburg, which boasts countless teams that are always national championship contenders, ODAC contenders, and equestrian fitting right up there maybe as one of the best. This one's lined out to Sarah Watts at first, and that's the first out. So now 9 in a row retired by Dorsis as she finally gets Newcomb on her own accord. Swing and a miss here on the first pitch to Zabik. Zabik batting .316 on the year, 2 doubles and a triple. Only walked 6 times. This one hit softly on the ground to Watts, and that's the second out. Make it 10 in a row now for Dorsis. As she's in the heart of the lineup now with the Cougars and number 12, Cadence Woodleaf.
Brings up the second baseman, number 12, Cadence Woodliff.
First pitch strike to Woodleff. This one fouled away over the third base dugout. This one hit on the ground, fielded head high by Walter, but thrown away and out of play will get Woodleff to first base. So there is the first base runner to reach in 10 at-bats for Averett, and it's reached on an error.
Now batting the DP, number 7, Taylor Sullivan.
So runner in scoring position now for the first time for the Cougars, as Taylor Sullivan steps to the plate. Strike is called at the knees on Sullivan. Sullivan, we mentioned, also a pitcher, the ace of this Averett team. She's from Timberlake, North Carolina. Fouled away. Quickly 0-2 again. Dorsis had Woodleff down 0-2, but then the throwing error by Walter extends the inning. And Carly Hudnall's reached on an error in the first inning is going to be changed to a single and then advanced to second on an error. So the error is not going off the board for Averett. However, there will be an extra hit in the hit column for Lynchburg and probably some more earned runs as well. Misses upstairs 1-2, probably a purposeful miss, trying to raise the eye level of Sullivan here, try to get her to chase one out of the zone. See if Dorsis attacks inside. She goes away on this one. Fouled away, so staying alive is Sullivan This one hit hard into left field, and it is off the warning track and in safely. Averett's going to get their first run of the game. It's an unearned run, but a run nonetheless. Averett now trails 5-1 as Sullivan makes Lynchburg pay for the error. Trading places with Woodleft there with Sullivan. She lines one off the left center field wall.
Next up, the catcher, number 14, Shay Donahue.
Shay Donahue now looking to continue putting some runs on the board. Still a runner in scoring position for the Cougars. This one lifted into center field. Barely having to move is Hackett, and that's how the inning ends. But Averett gets on the board with a double from Sullivan. Lynchburg coming up to bat, trailing, or leading 5-1 on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Lexi Powell to the plate here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Lynchburg leading the Cougars 5-1. We're approaching an hour into gameplay as first pitch came in at 1:28 today. Powell grounds out here to begin the inning. It'll bring up Carly Hudnall, who does have a hit in this one.
Catcher, number 6, Carly Hudnall.
And has scored 2 runs and stolen a base. Huddy takes one on the outside part of the plate and in the dirt, as it's still Abby Sutton out there pitching for the Cougars. Ball inside. We mentioned not easy to score on Dorsis, and that one's going to go down as an unearned run for the junior. And really just one tough outing for Dorsis this season, and it was last week against Virginia Wesleyan. 2 1/3 pitched, not too much damage. 4 hits, 3 runs. Lynchburg turned to Emily Charlton eventually in that game, who shut out the Marlins. So maybe just looking to limit the damage. You probably could have stuck with Dorsis in that one, and she probably could have delivered a similar line to Charlton in the rest of that game. But Charlton ended up also not starting game 2, but again shutting out the Marlins. So Emily Charlton, a senior, hasn't been making too many starts recently, but still coming in big moments and dealing for the Hornets. We'll see if she starts game 2. Sarah Watts now to bat. She is 2 for 2, a double and a single. I don't know if there's any easy part of the cycle, but the first 2 are out of the way. You got a triple and homer now if you want to start thinking about a cycle. This one lined up the middle. It'll just be 1, but still gets a runner in scoring position and extends a 3 for 3 day for Sarah Watts, who swung at the first pitch she saw. And Lynchburg back in business here after not scoring in the third, have runners at first and second with 1 out. And the 3-hole hitter, Madison Barnes, looming after this mound visit.
Now batting the first baseman, number 16, Madison Barnes.
Pitch in there for a first pitch strike. So we mentioned Abby Sutton's longest outing is 4 innings. Looks like that is how much is left on the table for the Cougars as third base is stolen. Maybe Sarah Watts missed the sign, but does not advance to second. So now runners at the corners for Madison Barnes. You don't often see that, just the runner at third base taken off. I'm going to guess Sarah Watts missed a sign there. Sarah Watts was running with the pitch there as this one's lined out to Gates, and she makes the play, and tagging up is Hudnall, scoring Lynchburg's 6th run of the game. Watts stays put at first base, and Hudnall scores, bringing up Alyssa Teliamtua.
Number 17, Alyssa Taliamtua.
Barnes came into the game with 17 RBI, tied with Sarah Watts. The run scores, but another out, and now there's 2 down in the inning. Lynchburg gets that run back that they conceded in the 4th inning. Now stealing second is Watts, and she's in there safely. Back in scoring position for Teliamtua, the team leader in ribbies. The pitch swung on right back up the middle, knocked down by Sutton. She's able to make the play and kind of shrugging that one off. Looks like she's okay as she made the play there. Real fine play by the freshman, and the side is retired. Lynchburg leads at 6-1 on LHSN. Olivia Jones leading off here for Averett, who got on the board in the 4th inning on a double from Taylor Sullivan. That's all they could muster. First pitch swinging and lined out to Watts over there at second. 1 away.
The first baseman, number 8, Abby Owen.
Abby Owen now stepping up to face Dorsis for a second time today. 6-7-8 here in the 5th inning for Averett. 6-hitter already lined out. Ball in the dirt. Getting back into the count there is Dorsis 2-1 after 2 balls delivered to Owen. Swing and a miss. 2-2. So just 5 strikeouts in the game so far for Dorsis. I may have credited her with 6. Not the case. Now it is, though, as that one swung on and missed, held on to by Hudnall. And that's out number 2 in the inning. Strikeout number 6 on the day.
Brings up the left fielder, number 9, Kaylee Gates.
Kaylee Gates made a fine play out in left field an inning and a half ago, diving in to rob Lynchburg of a base hit. Lynchburg still out hitting Averett, however, 7-2. Those 3 errors fairly costly for Averett. This one fouled away. I'm going to track the strikeouts by myself. I'm having a little internet issues as to check the live stats. But you can find the live stats on lynchburgsports.com under Lynchburg softball schedule page. Fouled, or actually off the plate, 1-2. Again, same part outside, 2-2 now. Dorsis glaring down her opponent here, Gates in the left-handed batter's box. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit softly, and the bounce kind of eats up Watts. That's going to be a error here on Lynchburg. A lot of errors in this one so far. 5th error of the game between the 2 sides.
Now batting the third baseman, number 20, Hannah Jones.
Hannah Jones now steps in as the 9-hole hitter, looking to extend the inning and flip it over to the top of the order with Newcomb, Zabik, and Sullivan. A 2-out error plagued the Hornets in the last half inning. Dorsis and company looking to have that not be the case again. The Cougars wouldn't mind adding on 1 or 2 or 3 more. They're quickly running out of time here as we have been playing softball for an hour and 4 minutes. It's the top of the 5th here. Lynchburg leading by 5. Ball above the head of Jones. Swung at a ball outside the zone, down at her feet, and now the count is 2-2. Here's the pitch, fouled back, staying alive, Jones. talked about Olivia Jones a little bit, making her 8th start of the year. Batting .222 on the season entering play today. The pitch off the hands to shortstop from her knees. Georgia Thompson did not make the play in time. And a weird hop, but it's going to be a base hit for Jones. And the inning lives on. Assistant coach Michelle Lehan will come out, maybe just trying to calm down or give Dorsis a little bit of a break, hoping to not have a repeat of the 4th inning where a 2-out error extended the Cougars' life and ended up making them pay for it. Mackenzie Newcomb is going to step into the box here, so it's the leadoff hitter in the top of the order for the Cougars, and a big spot here for Averett. Averett looking for conference win number 10. If they take both from Lynchburg today, they'll get to 500 on the year in ODAC play. It'll be win 15 and 16 for the Cougars. Started off with a 3-game losing streak on the season before taking the 2nd game against Methodist 6-5. Played Christopher Newport, the number 8 team in the country at the time, really close, but 2 losses early on in the year. And another close game against Greensboro. So this Averett team, despite the sub-500 record, a lot of fight left in them. Newcomb fouls out, and that'll end the inning. Lynchburg escapes unscathed in the 5th. Bree Hodges singled in her first at-bat, allowed out to the warning track, and Olivia Jones in her 2nd trip to the plate, looking to do some damage here in her 3rd. We'll take a first pitch strike from Sutton, who's on to work for the 3rd inning of her day. Senior day here at Aubrey R. Moon Junior Field, always a pleasant day for any program. Hit on the ground, but foul. Down 0-2. One strikeout for Averett pitchers. None so far from Sutton, who's allowed 1 hit and walked 2 batters. This one hit hard into left field and off the top of the wall. Hodges motoring into 2nd, sliding, and she is out. Good relay there from Averett to get Hodges, trying to take 2 there. That's an unfortunate at-bat there for Hodges, who kind of probably thought she had a home run. Ends up going back to the dugout. We'll get credit with a single, though. And then out 8-4-6, I believe. Here's Jessica Strickland now, pinch hitting for Georgia Thompson. Strickland also a Player of the Week winner at one point for Lynchburg. Her numbers are quite impressive here in her freshman season. Strickland, 348, nearly a 1,000 OPS. That's on base percentage and slugging. This is her 30th game played. She's got 24 hits, a home run, a triple, and 8 doubles. This one hit sharply but gloved. And the play is made at first base by Owen, who slaps the bag with the ball in her mitt. There's 2 away. Good piece of hitting there by Strickland. Just a better play by Owen. We'll have another pinch hitter here. It's Abby Lockhart.
Pinch hitting for the Hornets is number 27, Abby Lockhart.
Abby Lockhart now batting in the bottom of the 5th. First pitch she sees is a strike off the hand of Sutton. And an interesting 5th inning here for Lynchburg. 2 really well-hit balls. One of them fell in for a hit, but Hodges was out on the play going to second. And then Strickland as a pinch hitter lined one down the first baseline, but gloved there by Owen, who kind of just fell onto first base after she made the nice stop. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Lynchburg goes down in order in the 5th. Two, 3, 4 due up for the Cougars.
Is the center fielder, number 17,
Hannah Zabik bats here for Averett. Zabik on the day, 0 for 2. Ground out and a fly out. First pitch from Dorsis is a strike. That was another one of those borderline pitches. Didn't get the immediate reaction from the umpire, but I knew better, and I waited on it, and it was called a strike. So 0-1 count here to Zabik. This one does not reach the zone. It's up high, evens the count 1-1. Jessica Strickland pinch hit and grounded out in the 5th inning. She's going to stay put at shortstop, replacing Georgia Thompson. Swung on and missed there, 1-2. And Abby Lockhart pinch hit for Walter in the same inning. She struck out. Walter re-enters. Strike 3 looking. That's the first out of the inning. Brings up Woodleft. Strikeout number 7 on the day for Dorsis. Popped up, first pitch, fielded by Walter. And Taylor Sullivan now. She did the only damage in the game for Averett. lasering a double off the left center field gap. Brought Newcomb home to score. Dorsis will avoid Sullivan here on the first pitch. 6th game of the year for Dorsis with 7 or more strikeouts. And she is at 101 on the year. So should have mentioned that on her last strikeout. But it's okay. 100 strikeouts nonetheless, and counting. For her career, as this one is hit well out into right center field, but making the play is Kaylee Hackett. Leave you with some suspense on the career strikeout totals for Dorsis. We'll get those to you when we return for the bottom of the 6th inning here on LHSN.
Leading off
Bottom of the 6th inning here.
is center fielder number 19, Kaylee Hackett.
Kaylee Hackett to lead off the 6th inning for the Lynchburg squad. It's 8-9-1 for Lynchburg. First pitch, breaking ball in there for a strike. High and outside, 1-1. So Sutton has come in and pitched well against Lynchburg in relief. This one lifted foul down the left field line. There's 13 batters faced for the starter, Casey Stevenson. She allowed 5 runs in just 2 innings of work. Now going the foul territory to the opposite side of the field and out of reach of Owen. Still 1-2. Get a new softball in there. Sutton looking to put away Hackett with her second strikeout of the day. But it'll be flied out into right field, and Jones is there to make the play for the first out of the inning. Lexi Powell now stepping to the plate.
Next up, the right fielder, number 10, Lexi Powell.
Carol Oberhelman, the head coach here in her second year for Averett, a recent graduate of University of Lynchburg, played for Dawn Simmons here as recently as 2020. As Powell pops up on the first pitch she sees, quickly 2 away.
Brings up the leadoff.
Started a lot as a sophomore and as a junior. Hit 6 home runs in her career here. And it's always fun, I bet, for Dawn Simmons to see, of course, any of her former players succeeding in her post-college days, but if she can leave a legacy and create another great head coach, I'm sure Dawn Simmons is really proud to see Carol Oberhelman across the way here on the opposite foul line. And it's a privilege to coach against one of her former teammates. One count here to Carly Hudnall. This one hit hard down the third baseline, knocked the glove off of Jones. And that's going to be a interesting hustle double there for Carly Hudnall, who hit that one on a line. Not an easy play for Jones over there at third base. Like I said, knocked her glove off and into foul territory.
Brings up the second baseman, number 7, Sarah Watts.
So Carly Hudnall in there standing on second now with 2 outs and Sarah Watts at the dish. Swung on the first pitch she sees, sending Zabik back, and it's off the wall. A second double of the day for Watts, and she is 4 for 4 with another RBI. What a day for Sarah Watts, who brings home Hudnall. Lynchburg leads it now 7-1. Madison Barnes' trip due up. It'll be Alex DiNardo pinch hitting for her.
Pinch hitting for the Hornets is number 18, Alex DiNardo.
Third pinch hitter we've seen today from the Hornet side. Sarah Watts stands on second. Hasn't made an out yet today. 4 for 4, 2 doubles, 2 singles. Quite a performance. As this first pitch from DiNardo sees is popped up and fielded by Jones over there at third base, and that's how this inning ends. But Lynchburg adds another one. 7-1 here on LHSN, heading to the top of the 7th. Toss. Dorsis won't have a chance to get her 13th complete game. Her day is done. It makes way for a senior, Bree Carter. Nice moment here for the senior Carter to get on into the circle to pitch and look to close out the 7-1 ball game against Averett, keeping the Cougars right where they are and giving Lynchburg 26th win of the season. Bree Carter, no earned runs this year. She's made 4 appearances. Only pitched 2 complete innings, however. 4 hits allowed, 1 strikeout, 1 double. 2 runs allowed, but neither of them earned, so that's why that 0 ERA is on the board. Looking to keep it that way as she faces a pinch hitter here. Allie Testerman from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Her brother plays for the baseball team at Averett, or at least a very close relative or an extremely odd coincidence that two Testermans from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina play baseball and softball at Averett with no relation. I'm going to go out and say that they're probably related in some way. 1-1 count here on the freshman Testerman. Fouled away, 1-2 count. So, 7 strikeouts is the final line for Dorsis. Gave up 1 run, not earned. Allowed 3 hits, 2 Lynchburg errors. 253 strikeouts in the career for Dorsis. And there's the second strikeout of the year for Carter. She gets Testerman swinging. 1 down here in the 7th.
Now batting the right fielder, number 27, Olivia Jones.
Olivia Jones, the right fielder, steps in here with 1 out facing Carter. First pitch, again, barely having to move is Hackett, and there are quickly 2 away. Abby Owen now is the last chance for the Cougars.
The first baseman, number 8, Abby Owen.
First pitch in there for a strike. Carter living right in the strike zone and pitching well here in her 5th appearance for the Hornets. 2 complete innings of work so far for her. Ball outside. Abby Owens, the 7-hole hitter. She looks at a pitch outside, 2-1. Inside part of the plate, that's a strike. The Cougars are now down to their final pitch, or at least final strike, as there's 2 outs here and 2 strikes and 2 balls on Abby Owen. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit off the end of the bat, not able to be fielded by Carter, and that's just going to go down as a single. Staying alive are the Cougars. That one hit just firmly enough to the left of Carter that as she came off the rubber, part of her delivery, unable to, cleanly glove it there. Fouled away. Kaylee Gates here in her sophomore season from Whitsett, North Carolina. Played her high school softball at Southeast Guilford, not to be confused with Northwest Guilford. Hit on the ground, foul, and once more, down to the final strike are the Cougars. Is Gates able to keep the line moving and see if they can make a little comeback attempt here against the Hornets? They trail by 6. Oh, 2. Carter, the senior, on senior day with the pitch. Outside. It's been a breeze all game, but nothing too bothersome. We've definitely seen windier games here at Moonfield even this year. The pitch reached out, hit softly to second, fielded, and thrown out at first. That's the ball game. Lynchburg takes game 1 over Averett, 7-1. Bree Carter gets the final outs here on senior day. And what a performance by the Hornets to take care of business against the Cougars. Get their 14th conference win of the year. Well, that'll do it for me on the headset, most likely, as Evan Gates will be in here to call Game 2 for you. That'll be a treat. I'm going to stay around and do PA maybe. Maybe just let Kayla Hugate do it. Thanks, everyone, for watching. But don't go anywhere because we're going to be back in about 35 minutes for Game 2 here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
back for game 2 on Moon Field. We have had a really fun senior day so far, and the action just keeps on rolling. Emily Charlton in the circle for Lynchburg. They've got a big task as they have game 2 versus Averett. The Cougars now 14-21 on the season. After that last game, Lynchburg improves to 26-9, and we saw once again what Kaylee Dorsis can do in the circle. We know there's so much talent for Lynchburg on this pitching side. They're trying to keep it rolling today. Currently coming into this game, sitting in 4th here in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference.
Leading off for Averett, shortstop number 6, Mackenzie Newcomb.
As we get ready for first pitch, Averett once again in white, Lynchburg and black will roll down the Cougars batting lineup momentarily as Charlton gets ready for the first pitch to the righty, Mackenzie Newcomb. Right down Main Street for strike 1. Averett goes out with Mackenzie Newcomb batting first, then Hannah Jones, Cadence Woodliff, Taylor Sullivan, Brianna Battinelli, Olivia Jones, Abby Owen, Hannah Zabik, and Kaylee Gates. As this one sprayed into right field, and already Averett has its first hit of the game. So base traffic early that Charlton will have to maneuver. The Cougars coached by Carol Oberhelman in her second season. So much history with Lynchburg, and always super special to invite former players back to Moon Field. Native of Washington Township, New Jersey. Undergrad at Lynchburg, played for Coach Simmons, and your starting left fielder is in the visiting dugout as this steal attempt. Nice throw, but in there safely is Newcomb. So Newcomb, the shortstop, starts with a single out to right. Now Hannah Jones up to the plate. Jones this season has been really solid. We know that Averett has really just continued to find their footing. Softball, a game that obviously has its ebbs and flows, and you understand it's so crucial to build momentum down the stretch. Lynchburg has a pretty tough test ahead of them when you look at the conference and just what they have been able to accomplish early as this pitch gets away. Another free base for Averett. Now standing on third with no one out is Newcomb. Lynchburg has CNU and Randolph-Macon in doubleheaders to finish this season, and you understand that is a very tall task. Lynchburg currently receiving votes, and then both of those teams in the rankings. This one hit out to left. No one's going to get there. And Averett quickly has its first run of the game. Hannah Jones, the RBI into left center. Some base traffic along the way, just staying patient, and the Cougars are able to operate.
Now batting, second base number 12, Cadence Woodloff.
Cadence Woodliff steps in to the box. She has been sensational all season long, and we know that Averett has continued to rely on her. We've already seen it from Averett. They are a team that is not afraid to steal bases, averaging over 2 per game, and when you look at it down the stretch, they are just obviously relying on getting around, because you know there are hitting stats that you can really analyze, but when you have that extra asset in your toolbox, it is always powerful, and we know the Cougars are looking to advance pretty constantly. Charlton, the 0-2. Nice. Woodliff just swings a little too early, and that is out number 1 for the ball game. Charlton has her first strikeout, and it will bring up Taylor Sullivan. Emily Charlton this season, 8-1, the senior from Chesapeake, Virginia. Only loss is versus Salisbury, where Lynchburg could have tied it. That one was postponed and then essentially canceled. You could say that the result was wrapped up, and so Charlton obviously goes out with the loss. Put an asterisk beside this one. Going out to right, almost a catch, but Lynchburg can't rein it in, and so it will just hold the runners at first and second. Very tough play out and right for Lexi Powell, but she can't corral it, and so Averett continues going station to station. they will rule it a hit. So that is the third hit of the game for Averett. Looking at Lynchburg's fielding alignment, it's Alyssa Taliumtewa in left, Carly Hackett in center, Lexi Powell in right. As we have a mound meeting for Lynchburg. On the infield, it's Addison Walter at third, Georgia Thompson at short, Sarah Watts at second, Madison Barnes at first. And then we know Carly Hudnall, the battery mate for Emily Charlton. Opponents batting .229 versus Charlton. She's had 4 complete games this season. We've already talked about momentum. Well, a key part to doing so is having your pitchers ready to go. We know that Lynchburg has a really strong staff, and Charlton, who plans on returning next season, has just really had a breakout year when you look at some of the stats and the trust in the circle. Hitting some traffic early, though, hence the reason that Coach goes out to the circle. 1 out, and it's in there for a strike. Brianna Battinelli in the box for Averett. Pitch gets in there again, so 0-2. Obviously, it would be nice to have a punch out or pop up in this situation for Lynchburg. Hold the runners and hold the damage to just 1 in the top of the first. This one fouled off. Coach Dawn Simmons, always just an incredible performance and a great way to look back at Lynchburg's success in general, because we know what she has in the statistical category, 700+ career wins. But it just seems like there's so much buy-in from her squad, and especially with the way that they played to start this season, you could tell that that confidence was all around. Charlton a hold in the 1-2. Just a bit high. Lynchburg wins game 1, 7-1, and then when you look back at Lynchburg's last few games, they got it done against Roanoke on Code Red Day. Emily Charlton's getting it done, second strikeout of the day. Sends Battinelli to the dugout and Olivia Jones to the batter's box. 2 swinging strikeouts is always a good way to start getting your confidence back after being hit a little bit early. This one fouled up behind us. We will do it again.
Right fielder number 27, Olivia Jones.
Lynchburg now 19-2 at home this season. Obviously, the ODAC tournament we know will likely have some on-the-road games, but when you pay attention to the way that this season started, with Lynchburg having 8 straight games at home, it just feels like they have really been able to get into the swing of things early, and energy always so crucial. That's why on senior day it's even more impressive to come out, get that first win, just really feed off of the crowd. Charlton pitch outside, 2-1. Another one right down the middle. Thompson has it at short, and that's out number 3. So Lynchburg can't totally avoid the damage, but Charlton holds Averett to just 1 run. It's 1-0 heading to the bottom of the first. Carly Hudnall gets set to step in the box for Lynchburg in the bottom of the first. Let's take a look at the individual in the circle for Averett. It is Taylor Sullivan. Really good season so far, 2.43 ERA, and you could really say she is the ace of this Averett squad. We see this a few times where teams aren't afraid to throw out their ace in game 2, and you really just try to weather the storm in game 1, maybe steal it, and then build some confidence as you head on to your next game. We will see what Averett can do today as Hudnall hits one that gets down and left. So Averett has an opening hit, and their leadoff batter, Lynchburg, does the same. Hudnall has the first single for the Hornets. And the always dangerous Sarah Watts now getting set to step in the box. She has had a phenomenal season, really leads those categories for Lynchburg. 34 hits coming into this doubleheader today, batting .374. Hoping to keep that rolling. For Lynchburg in the batting department today, Carly Hudnall led off with a single. This is Sarah Watts, then Madison Barnes, Alyssa Taliumptawa, Bree Hodges, Georgia Thompson, Addison Walter, Carly Hackett, and Lexi Powell, your 1 through 9. Charlton, the flex, says, oh, no trouble in the base path, but Hudnall able to safely maneuver it, now standing on second. Almost looked a little planned, just trying to get some attention, and now 1-1 count. Lynchburg already has one in scoring position. Anytime Sarah Watts steps up, you like to have that in the equation. Strong swing for strike 2. We've seen Sullivan so far not afraid to attack, puts another one near the zone and fouled off. One-two count. Sullivan delivers, grounded off. Foul again. That's a strong pitch down the middle, and Watts is retired on strikes. There's out number 1. Solid stuff from Sullivan. Some similarities we have already seen early in this game. Lynchburg and Emily Charlton got the first down on a strikeout. Sullivan does the same. This one skied out to center. Not much movement for out number 2. Madison Barnes, one pitch, retired back to the dugout. Alyssa Taliumptawa in the cleanup spot today. Righty on lefty matchup for Averett. If we look at the fielding alignment, left to right in the outfield is Gates, Zabik, and Olivia Jones. And the infield at third is Hannah Jones. Short is Newcomb. Second is Woodliff. First is Owen. And then Donahue behind the plate. Sullivan in the circle. Here's the 0-1. Right down the middle, and another chance to retire batter on strikes. Send Averett out of the first inning unscathed. Beautiful day here in the Hill City. It's starting to get hot. Maybe a hot finish to this second game. Averett gets it done. 6-3 put out for out number 3. We're heading to the top of the second. The Cougars on top early in the Hill City.
No runs, 1 hit, no errors.
Averett set to send Abby Owen, Hannah Zabik, and Kaylee Gates to the plate. 7, 8, 9 in the top of the second. Smooth sailing so far for the Cougars. Already matched their game 1 tally. We'll see if they can add on. And Averett really a squad that knows what it's capable of doing. They're in the right direction, and especially a lot of these Cougars teams having their first experience in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. These last 2 years, you know that it is always difficult just to maneuver that, and they've played a lot of ODAC teams before, but this is a little bit different because it is almost a guarantee you're going to see everybody in the ODAC. Huge presence here in the Commonwealth. We know that Averett is a squad really close to North Carolina, so they get competition from both states. Charlton pitch outside, now 2-1. Grounded to third. Oh, going to be a tough play at first, but nice work as Lynchburg navigates it cleanly. Addison Walter almost fumbled it, and that is really what makes a great ball player, being able to stick with it. It is not always the easiest of situations. You got to really find out how to manage some of those bounces, and this one skates by into left for a base hit. So Charlton retires Owen, and Zabik quickly getting on first, and Kaylee Gates steps up to the plate. The 9-hole hitter for Averett, a big spot now, because if you get someone else on with 1 out and you're going back to the top of the lineup, can really start making some damage. Corners in. Pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Averett will have a doubleheader versus Bridgewater in the season finale. That will be next Saturday at home. Really starting to become crunch time for every sport, and just feels like March and April always are about as quick as you're going to get in the sports schedule. The spring sports are essentially 2 months and out before the postseason. Lynchburg fortunate enough to have a lot of teams in those conversations, not just at the ODAC level, but at the national level. The equestrian team getting another national championship earlier today, a three-peat now. That has to feel good if you are John Waters, the athletic director, the entire athletic department, just to trust what you are building. Give Day was this Thursday, and it was an awesome opportunity to really reflect on some of the projects going on. So much to be excited about, including a Charlton strikeout. Third of the day, all swinging, as Kaylee Gates is retired and back to the top of the lineup. Mackenzie Newcomb steps to the plate here in the second inning. 4 hits for the Cougars. Newcomb was one of them to get things started. We will see if they can keep on rolling. 4 singles thus far, and just some good base running to navigate home. This season, coming into the doubleheader, Averett had just 30 walks on the batting side of things, and you can just tell that they are ready to attack the zone. That is on the pitching side of things, so you trust that Lynchburg is going to have opportunities. But on this batting side, they have been very formidable as well. 74 of 82 stealing coming into this contest. We talked about the steals early in this game. One of them was just advancing on a wild pitch. That's really been the, we don't want to say problem, let's just say the question mark that Averett has tried to figure out this season from a pitching standpoint. They do pitch to contact. They're expecting teams to get their bat on the ball, but you know that they still have the fielding to do well to compete in games, and we have seen it up and down a season. Softball, you have so many more games than some of these other sports. You're getting more reps, chances to go out and rewrite the narrative. Full count, 2 outs. Runner will be on the move. Charlton, the pitch right down the middle, will do it all over again. If Charlton can get the out here, she's going to face 2, 3, 4 to start the 3rd inning. The pitch down and away. Great work at second. Lynchburg showing a little of what they can do on the defensive side of things. They get out of the inning without allowing any runs. We're going to the bottom of the 2nd from Moonfield. Glad you're joining us on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Bree Hodges steps up to the plate for Lynchburg, bottom of the 2nd. Beautiful day in Lynchburg. We have been blessed with some really good weather in the last week or so, starting to warm up. Temperatures started to become a little more mild now. We had a few days that were up in the 80s. There are some fans, especially up north, that did not appreciate it. Sky to left. There's out number 1. Hodges is retired. It brings up the shortstop, Georgia Thompson.
Now batting shortstop, number 14, Georgia Thompson.
Just 1 hit so far for Lynchburg. It was the leadoff single from Carly Hudnall before Sullivan sat down the next 3. First pitch to Thompson, inside, fouled back. Lynchburg has been in a spot where they have just continued to show us what they can do, especially early in the season when you looked at some of those wins ending early. Continue to operate. They are not afraid to swing the bat when it is going well around the lineup. You know, everybody can get there. Hitting can be contagious, especially when you just get the pitcher's approach down. You hear those conversations that go throughout the dugout. So much communication in this game that might go unnoticed. Strike 3 called by the ump. There's out number 2. Addison Walter will step up. First strikeout today by either team for caught looking, and now it brings up Walter, who had a really nice play at second to end the top of the 2nd. Averett unable to put any runs on the board. First pitch high. Woodliff, Zabik, and Jones have started every game for Averett, and there are always those characters on a roster at this stage of the season where you can just rely on them time and time again. We mentioned how large the schedule is. You get a pretty good sample size from the stat sheet. It is not easy to go out every day and navigate the injuries, the ups and downs just of a season in general. So much energy. This one, a little bloop to short. No problem for the Cougars. Sullivan looking strong in the circle. Lynchburg unable to put up anything in the bottom of the 2nd.
No runs, no hits, no errors.
Number 24 trying to keep trekking in the circle. Emily Charlton, just one run allowed so far. Averett can feel confident early in this game. Throwing the first blow, seeing if Lynchburg can respond. They do so with Hannah Jones and the 2-hole stepping up to the plate. 2-3-4 for the Cougars. Another good spot in the lineup. Hannah Jones playing second base for Averett today. Batting .259 coming into the doubleheader. She has played every game, as we mentioned, all 34 for the Cougars. This one bounced up to Charlton. We'll just scoop it over to first. That's out number 1. Good awareness, great composure for the first out. We know that every pitcher is really expected to have a pretty big toolbox. You understand what they are required to do, not just of the work in the circle, but also fielding. We've touched on the fact that pitchers just continue to evolve and really reimagine that style of the game. We have so many good ones for Lynchburg that have stepped in big roles and continuing to contribute. Think about what Dorsis has accomplished this season. The reason the Lynchburg has been ranked, now receiving votes. Randolph-Macon 7th and Virginia Wesleyan 13th in the latest poll. So Lynchburg trying to rejoin it. No shortage of opportunities either. Last season they were 3-7 versus top 10 opponents, but when do you get 10 games against those top 10, period? You understand that Salisbury will be on the schedule very often. Pretty good looks at those top ones. Elevator shaft up to left and out number 2. That will bring up Taylor Sullivan, the cleanup hitter in the circle today. Sullivan got a hit in her first at bat. Pretty good day when you're in the circle and you can still have some formidable stuff in the batter's box. This is an obvious difference from baseball. You don't always have pitchers getting opportunities to bat. You can have such an influence on the game when you are not only controlling things in the circle, but also being able to essentially assist yourself with some run coverage. 1-1 inside, pulled, who wants it? It's caught out and left. And Taliumptawa records the final out of the top of the third. So Lynchburg will try to get their first runs on the board as we head to the bottom of the third. You're watching LHSN. Back in the bottom of the third, Hackett steps up to the plate. Lexi Powell on deck. And then back to the top of the lineup with Carly Hudnall. Kaylee Hackett this season batting .318. Has put together some solid stuff, 14 RBIs. Moved around the lineup like so many others. That's just the experiment that you have to go through as a coaching staff. We know Coach Simmons has really started to perfect her craft. I don't know if you're ever perfecting it as a coach. There's always, in their eyes, another way to improve. But when you have those 700-plus wins, you've been to the ODAC tournament every single season of your tenure, you're doing something right. That will build confidence up and down the roster. One-two count, Sullivan. Trying to keep the base traffic low. She has done well so far. Just one hit for the Hornets. And called strike three. We've seen that a few times now. The Hornets are sent back to the dugout. Hackett is retired, and Powell steps up to the plate in the 9-hole. 3 strikeouts now for Sullivan, 2 looking. She has just looked very strong, getting those first pitch strikes and opportunity to move quickly. Powell, another senior that was recognized in the festivities earlier from William Byrd High School. A lot of local kids for Lynchburg. We won't even say local, but we'll say within an hour or so. Always fun to be able to really retain some of that talent. Shows the pipeline, shows that you're building something special when everyone wants to buy in. Lexi Powell joined the party, and this squad has just kept on rolling. This has been a fun season so far. Pop-up, who wants it? The catcher will make the play against the wall, and there is out number 2. We lost it for a second. Solid work from Donahue. Working against the sun. Tough spot by the backstop, and out number 2. It's unfortunate for Lexi Powell that one stays in, but did not hit the net, and so we had to the leadoff spot again. Carly Hudnall. A single in her first at-bat, the only hit for the Hornets thus far. And Sullivan already working quickly, bunt placed, and it will be easy running down the first baseline. Hudnall gets a second. Really just looked clinical, and it was that half second of a response between Sullivan and Donahue, who wanted it. There is really no more time to decide. So Sarah Watts steps in, strikeout in her first at-bat, but always dangerous. She can change the game with one swing of the bat. Watts coming into the doubleheader. I mentioned some of those categories that she is leading, like runs and hits, but 8 homers. So much power that you have in the right spots, it can always make the ball game different. This one called strike. That zone has been pretty large. Now Lynchburg will have to maneuver it. 1-1 count. Good thing is you at least have some of that swing mode stuff as Hudnall gets to second easily, throw off the mark. Larger zone obviously just allows you not only to swing the bat more, it helps the pitchers. You want to make sure that you're hitting the zone, but for batters, it can be that approach where you're not hesitating, builds a little bit of confidence that will eventually find itself into the run column. That was a close one. This one caught a ball, and now Deuces wild, 2-2 count. Hudnall stands on second. A single has the potential to score. Bottom of the third, Lynchburg can tie it up. Lynchburg's 3 of the last 5 losses have been by 1 run, and so they have been competitive really throughout the ODAC slate. Builds character to have those tight encounters. This one grounded to third. Throw beats out Watts, and Averett escapes again. So solid work in the circle from Sullivan, blanking Lynchburg through 3. They're going to try to turn things around, but Charlton is going to head back out to the circle. Lynchburg trying to keep rolling. Brianna Battinelli steps in for Averett. 1-0 ball game as we head to the 4th. Senior Day festivities for Lynchburg. 4 very tough games coming up on the schedule, and you would love to build momentum now. You know, it's something in the softball schedule that can be very difficult to maneuver because they started the season red hot, and now you're just trying to keep that energy heading into the tournament. 2 wins today would be just what the doctor ordered heading into those tough matchups. We know that Christopher Newport and Randolph-Macon are 2 tough opponents, but even just the trip to Christopher Newport from Lynchburg can be tough enough. Pitch in there and swung on for a strike. 2-1 count on Battinelli. Strikeout in her first at bat back in the first inning. Now 2-2. Averett coming into this doubleheader. They split a doubleheader versus Guilford. Lost the back end 6-5. It was 2 one-run games, and that one was a 1-run game heading into the 6th inning. So they really felt like they had a shot at winning it. 11 hits for the Cougars, 3 players with multiple. So far, 4 hits in this contest. They have come from 4 different players, so the Cougars in business again. Charlton just keeps on rolling. Another strikeout. So comfortable in the circle, and especially as a senior, you start to understand your role. You start to know what's going to get your teammates ticking, and just having that strikeout success can really do it. All strikeouts swinging for Charlton thus far, 4 to her name. Just 1 loss this season, trying to keep it that way. We'll need a little bit of run support, but you have to imagine the way that Lynchburg has played, they have a chance. One count to Olivia Jones. So many spring sports in action. We've already talked about it, the fact that feels like you can't go very long without hearing some sort of new narrative, something that is making a storyline. Equestrian success is something that will be talked about for a pretty long time with Lynchburg, but it is not over yet. This one almost gets down, about a foot foul. Saw 3 players converging, but we go back and now opportunity to do it again. 2-2 count on Olivia Jones. Jones batting .222 coming into this one. She had started 7. It's a good coaching technique at this stage of the season, trying to get as many players going as you can. never know with injuries what it's going to look like in the postseason, and you can override that storyline because the postseason is essentially just a few days after that final game on your regular schedule, but it still just feels like a really big heightened sense of urgency. Grounder played by Thompson, cleanly throw over to first, out number 2. Took a wild hop at the end, but Georgia Thompson sees it easily. Now Abby Owens steps in. Abby Owen this season batting .391. Slugging .609 as well, and so you're not only getting on base, but starting to round them. Number 8 in white in the box, 0-1 count. Charlton went 3 up, 3 down in the third. A chance to do it here in the fourth. This one jammed and foul, 0-2. Now Charlton just 1 pitch away. The windup and the pitch places it perfectly. Charlton does it again, this time looking, and Averett goes down 1, 2, 3. So big time stuff in the circle from the senior. We will see what happens from here on out. Lynchburg trying to get their first run in the ball game in the bottom of the fourth. Madison Barnes steps up for Lynchburg. Tally Umptewah will be on deck, and Bree Hodges in the hole for the Hornets. Strike 1 for Sullivan. Really solid stuff so far. Anytime that you can blank the Hornets through 3 innings, you're on your way to success. But it is just a 1-run ball game. Don't think that Coach Simmons' squad is feeling the pressure yet. You go once around the order, you really start getting a good look at Sullivan. Also batting in this one. Sullivan the 1-1. Low but in the zone, and strike 2 now on the board. So all of a sudden back against the wall. His pitch right down Main Street. It's a single into center. Maybe the run starts here for the Hornets. Solid stuff from Madison Barnes. She has done it all season long. She's standing on first, and Tally Umptewah has a chance to start the charge. The Hornets have to feel good about that. No outs, runner on first. You always want it to start earlier rather than later. Bunch shown. This one clipped off the catcher's mitt. Last night, the academic award ceremony was going on in Turner Gymnasium. So many players on these athletic teams, not just softball, but all across campus, were recognized for their accomplishments and achievements. We know that student athlete involves 2 parts, and if you can be great at both, you're setting yourself up for some really good things down the road. That's what Coach Simmons tries to preach, what a lot of these coaches do, and you see on Give Day as well, as we already mentioned, some of the personalities coming out. There is so much more than just the game on the field. Pitch outside. Now 1-2 count. Talyumptoa batting .307. On base percentage over .400 as well. And so more often than not, she is at least controlling counts. Working her way back now, 2-2. Righty on lefty matchup. Will it spell trouble? Pitch hangs high over to third, throw to first, got him. So one down. Barnes advances to second.
Now batting, designated player number 26, Bree.
5-3 put out, and Bree Hodges, a designated player, steps in. Flew out to left in her first at bat. What's been interesting about Lynchburg's season, it has been so streaky, and I don't think that it can even be applied to how the Hornets have played. A lot of the times it's more related to circumstance than anything else. They won the first 9, which how many programs can say that in the U.S.? They then had 3 losses and then back with 4 wins. It's just that type of season. They are winners of 4 straight now. The chance to add number 5. That's why momentum can be so important. It's just that type of game sometimes when you can really start building confidence and essentially bringing the game to your opponents. It starts with good pitching, and it's why Lynchburg is the 26th best ERA coming into this one through 34 games. Pitch outside, catcher set up, trying to get that spot. It is a ball. So 1-2, 1 out, Barnes in scoring position. Georgia Thompson on deck for Lynchburg. Wind up and pitch in the dirt. Starting to sense it if you're a Lynchburg fan, and they don't have the runs on the board yet, but it just feels like it is danger looming if they can continue to fight back in these counts. Sullivan has done well to get ahead. This one fouled off the net. We'll do it over again. Number 26 trying to spark something special for the Hornets. Just 3 hits so far for the hometown squad. This one into right. Stop sign put up late, and so runners on the corners. Barnes for a second looked like she was heading home. Instead, they will settle for Georgia Thompson to try to do the work at the plate.
Shortstop number 14, Georgia Thompson.
So Hodges gets Lynchburg's 4th hit of the day. Georgia Thompson, big time spot, except Coach Simmons wants to make a substitution here, and we might see a pinch runner and a pinch hitter. Let's wait and try to write everything down, get it settled for you, keeping things as transparent as it gets. Caitlin Reagan is on first. See a quick meeting between the Hornets. They'll try to settle things out. Looks to be Anna Grace Terrell from the left-handed batter's box.
Pinch running for Lynchburg is number 13, Caitlin Regan. And pinch hitting for Lynchburg is number 21, Anna Grace Terrell.
So Terrell in the box, 1 out. Lynchburg's best opportunity thus far. If you're Sullivan here, do you just go after it? Got a chance at the double play. Runner is in motion. It is a strike. They might have read our thoughts because now that double play is gone. Lynchburg has 2 in scoring position. A hit could score them both. Sullivan, the 0-1. Strong contact. Maybe with 2 strikes here, can use a setup pitch and try to get that strikeout, that is exactly what you would want. But the way that Lynchburg has swung the bat, you got to be careful. Creaky footsteps, every single advancement into the unknown. This pitch down in the dirt. Now the 1-2. Sullivan into the windup. Just outside. It's a game of inches, folks. Sullivan can't get that one, so back to the drawing board. 5 strikeouts thus far. Or excuse me, folks, 3 strikeouts for Sullivan. This one just foul. That is 5 strikeouts for Charlton on the other side. We will do this one over again. 2-2 count. You can just sense the bleachers are ready to explode on Moon Field. Can Terrell deliver it? Nice pitch in the dirt, right down the middle. It is a strikeout. Sullivan gets away with it, and now 2 down for Lynchburg. Addison Walter will try to deliver the blow that the Hornets have just been waiting to find. 4 hits and nothing to show for it. Might it end here? Walter, the second baseman, already made a nice play earlier. These are the moments that really start to matter this time of the season. Foul tip for strike 1. .250 batting average for Walter. She started every game she's played in. 27 appearances this season. Took that one the whole way. It is in there for a strike, and so now Lynchburg suddenly down to its final strike of the inning. Pitch just outside. Good eye from Walter. 4 hits apiece in this one between Lynchburg and Averett. Maybe the biggest moment we have seen thus far. Sullivan wind up. Another one. Big time strikeout in the circle. The Cougars just keep on rolling. No runs for Lynchburg as we head to the top of the 5th. Averett trying to steal one and split this senior day doubleheader on Moon Field. Averett trying to get to the finish line. It has been a fun matchup so far in Game 2 of this doubleheader. Hannah Zabik steps in after a single in the second. Will lead off this top of the 5th. Zabik, Gates, Newcomb. 8-9-1 for the Cougars. Squad out of Danville, the newest team to join the ODAC. Departure from the ODAC is on the way. Ferrum moving to Division II. I know that news has started to spread pretty rapidly, but every single school affected as this liner goes to Georgia Thompson for out number 1. Not much movement there as Gates steps to the plate. Kaylee Gates, number 9, in the 9 hole. Ferrum set to join the Conference Carolinas. Doesn't take much analysis. There are a lot of schools from down in the Carolina area. So many schools in Division III too, and we forget how many conferences are locked and loaded in this area, especially along the East Coast. You think about the ODAC being just situated in Virginia minus Guilford. Could be so much fun to get into the nitty-gritty. Then you have schools that are on the schedule like CNU who are traveling all around. They don't have many conference games against those California schools in the Coast-to-Coast Conference, but they do have to compete in a conference tournament. We don't have official word on this, but word on the street is that they alternate every single year. So you're not just going to California for a trip every season. You get a little bit of a break to stay home. Charlton 0-2 outside. That one had a little extra velo. The 1-2 in there for strike 3. Charlton has shown us what she can do. Some really solid strikeout stuff. And it brings up Mackenzie Newcomb. Strikeout number 6 for Charlton. She has kept her composure. She will go far in ball games. We've seen a few situations where she has come in relief. Logan Curtis has gotten a few starts throughout the season. That is what happened against Roanoke. Curtis started. Charlton got the win after throwing 4 innings. Versatile. This one going to left, maybe over the head. No, fantastic play in left field. Alyssa Taliumptua going back to the wall, doing the dirty work for Lynchburg. They keep things clean on the fielding side. Can they find the runs column now? They've been biting at it. Maybe this is the inning. They break through. We're heading to the bottom of the 5th. Taylor Sullivan still in the circle for Averett. Really solid stuff through 4 complete, no runs allowed. We'll see if that trend continues in the 5th. 9-9 record this season and 18 appearances. So she has something to show for every appearance on the season. She has 17 starts and 14 complete games. Very impressive stuff. I'll tell you what's impressive, Lynchburg getting another leadoff hit to get this 5th started. Madison Barnes did it in the 4th, and Kaylee Hackett does it in the 5th. So Hackett's aboard. Here's Lexi Powell. Another chance to really wrinkle the picture. Trying to ruffle Averett's feathers to start these innings. The problem has just been running into traffic at the end. Bunch shown. Hackett was on her way. Throw to first won't matter. Back-to-back strikeouts for Sullivan to end the 4th. You love having that fine wine approach, just getting better and better as the game goes on. And when you have so many complete games, you understand that she is ready to throw. Bunt almost perfect, spot down, does advance the runner, and so an extra bag, runner in scoring position. Powell completes the assignment, and now Carly Hudnall steps up.
6, Carly Hudnall.
2 singles for Carly Hudnall, and maybe that was part of the approach for Coach Simmons. See if she can get a trio. Try to get that run back for Lynchburg. Still early, but can get late very early in these types of games when you just don't pay attention to it. I think everybody's engaged and ready to go. Carly Hudnall has certainly been that way this entire season, trying to keep everything rolling. You see a lot of the hitting stats from Sarah Watts and what she has been able to accomplish. This one skied out into centers, finds the hole, and runners on the corners for Lynchburg. So Hudnall, a 3 for 3 day so far. Not every day you get that type of performance. We are already talking about Carly Hudnall and what she's been able to accomplish, batting .329 coming into this one. That is going to skyrocket after a really formidable start to game 2. Sarah Watts stepping up, so Averett wants to talk things over. Coach Oberhelman in her second season. We mentioned how she is back at Moon Field for the first time as a coach. That's got to feel pretty cool to be able to not only have your playing career contributions, but also be able to coach, return to your alma mater, to be a starter on that squad as well. It's not always easy to be able to crack the starting lineup of any team, but then you essentially have a pretty good picture of what the program is about. You know their priorities. And the series history, Lynchburg leads Averett 20-6. Last meeting was from April 24th of 2023, where Lynchburg blanked Averett 11-0. But Averett is having a very solid trend when you look at some of the progression in the second season for Coach Oberhelman. Beat number 9 Randolph-Macon last season. They had 9 wins in the campaign, but a big jump so far. 14 in the second season. Continuing to use the personnel. Big time spot, very similar to the last inning. They send the runner, and so double play threat averted. Sarah Watts still in the box and a 1-0 count. This could be dangerous. Hackett on third, Hudnall on second. Sarah Watts locked and loaded. Saw the pitch the whole way, takes it for a strike, 1-1. You have just 1 out, so a sac fly would work to equalize as well. Have to be almost picture perfect if you're Sullivan here. Really don't want anything getting into the outfield grass. Have to be smart with your pitch placement. 2-1. Just misses the zone, and it's a hitter's count. Watts is the 3-1. If you've just joined us, you have joined us for the right moment. Sarah Watts, chance to put a dent in the scoreline. Sullivan, outside. Bases loaded for Lynchburg. And Madison Barnes stepping up to the plate. The first walk of the day for Lynchburg, and we talked about it earlier. Averett does not offer many free passes. They will attack you. They are not afraid to give up some of that contact, but against Watts, one of the best in the conference, they are safe to put her on first. And here comes Madison Barnes. A single in the fourth to lead things off. And therefore a strike. Good first pitch from Sullivan. Now the double play is in effect. This could be a really big confidence booster for Barnes. She's batting .342 coming into this game. But immediately 2 strikes taken, and so Sullivan doing exactly what she needed. Now can she punch out Barnes? You still have Taliumptoa, the cleanup hitter, on deck. Here's the 0-2. Got her. Called strike 3, just on the outside part of the zone, and it's 2 outs for Averett.
Now batting, left fielder number
Wow,
17,
cookie crisp
Alyssa
from Sullivan.
Taliumptoa.
She did it in the 4th inning. Back-to-back strikeouts to send the Lynchburg Hornets back to the dugout. Can she do it again? Taliumptoa, 2 ground outs. Is the 3rd time the charm. First pitch taken outside. You don't want to put a pitch in the zone that is over your head here, but you do want to make sure you try to attack. You feel like you like the lead, and if you're Averett, this might be the chance to go after Taliumptoa, but by no means is she an easy out. Just depends on the urgency. Are you willing to let this game grow on? The problem is Bree Hodges is also batting behind Taliumptoa. There's really no one that is quote-unquote an easy out for Lynchburg. Always tough when you have the cleanup hitter in the box. Here's the 1-1. Fouled back again. Sullivan's 1 pitch away. What a feat it would be to send the Hornets packing 2 innings straight. How much sand is in the hourglass? Sullivan. The windup and the pitch, she got her. Wow. Sullivan has been fantastic when it has mattered the most. She is continuing to silence the Lynchburg crowd, and a roar from the Cougars. How about it in the circle number 7, showing us what she can do. We're heading to the 6th. Well, Lynchburg scratching its head a little bit because it has been a very tough 4th and 5th inning to swallow. You really do the foundational work. They brought 5 up to the plate in the 4th inning, brought 6 in the 5th, and both times with multiple runners on, Sullivan walks away with back-to-back strikeouts. So it's just about cracking that code. Averett for now in the right spot, just 2 innings away from splitting a pair at Moon Field. Signal was up from the umpire. It was a foul ball, so will not matter. It is an 0-2 count on the Cougars and Hannah Jones, who has stepped up to the plate. 1 for 2 days, single in the 1st. Trying to keep things rolling for the Averett Cougars. There's strike 3 from Charlton. Could say the pitcher's duel just continues to persist. These 2 hurlers have really shown us some strikeout stuff. Every time that Charlton steps in the circle, she is just a threat and has allowed just 1 run. Unfortunately for Lynchburg, that is enough to be trailing right now. Here's Woodliff. 0 for 2 so far, but her numbers are always menacing. Batting .365. That one over the head of the 3rd baseman. So that 0 for 2 trend sticks around no longer.
Batting, the pitcher, number 7,
Taylor Sullivan, who has done just about everything and then some in the circle, has a chance to show us some stuff on the batting side. Number 7 steps in. A single and a fly out so far. Woodliff able to get the first hit for Averett since the second inning. This one skied to Thompson at short for out number 2, so quick at bat for Sullivan. Brings up Brianna Battinelli. 2 strikeouts thus far.
Batting, designated player number 23, Brianna Battinelli.
Season's starting to wind down, and it is just that time of the year. Lynchburg in 4th, Averett in 6th in the ODAC standings, so this game certainly matters. Still lots of time. At least a little too much time to start looking at the postseason picture as official. Lynchburg in a battle there, really between 3, 4, 5. Not every team has played the same number of conference games as well, so it makes the picture a little bit tougher to become crystal clear. 0-2 count from Charlton. Pitch on the way upstairs. Randolph-Macon leads the conference 15-1. We mentioned they are top 10 in the nation. Lynchburg last year, number 10 in Division III to end the season. Steal attempt, it was close, but maybe just a bounce too high in the dirt. Woodliff is on second. Battinelli is still in the box with 2-2 count, 2 outs. And the top of the 6th. Another pitch up, and it's now a count that is drawn full. Lynchburg has the stuff and the makings to maybe make that postseason run again. A 2019 Super Regional berth. Trying to make a deep run again. It starts with pitching, and Charlton has been sensational. Lynchburg just has not cracked the code on the batting side. Can they do it in the bottom of the 6th? Averett scored the first run of the game in the top of the 1st, and since then, it has been zeros all the way. We'll be back on LHSN. Beautiful Saturday here in the Hill City. We're having a lot of fun on Moon Field. Evan Gates walking you through this one on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Lynchburg fans would probably think it's a lot prettier if they could get the numbers on the scoreboard. They did win game 1. So at worst, it's a split with Averett, but this is the stage of the season where you don't want to have those games that just feel like they were in reach the entire time go the wrong way, and it's a potential error to start the 6th, but they hang with it. The Cougars get out number 1. Hodges was hustling down to first, and Hannah Jones 6 with it for the putout. That would have been so huge for Lynchburg if they could capitalize, but the Hornets have to go back to the dugout. Hodges retired, and maybe another substitution. Georgia Thompson in the 6th hole. Terrell was the substitution earlier. We'll see if that's the same move from Coach Simmons. It's a game that has just felt like it has been a pitcher's duel the whole way, except for the first few batters.
Jessica Strickland.
It's Jessica Strickland who steps up to the plate. What an impact she has had this season. Incredible stuff. 348 batting average. Really just can't look at the stat sheet to see some of the contributions that have been so big. Getting hot at the right time. This one gets by into the outfield for a base hit. So Strickland takes one swing, and immediately you can see the impact as it is hit the first one at the bottom of the 6th. One down for the Hornets. Wow, Jessica Strickland. Little extra exit velo on that one. Hannah Jones made a nice play on the ball before it to avoid the error that time. There really wasn't anything happening at second base. Alex DiNardo now steps up for the Hornets. Another substitution.
For number 18, Alex DiNardo.
She has the power to make an influence as well. You don't want to double play here. You're not thinking about that if you're Lynchburg. I think you hope to swing the bat. We've seen that trend continue with Averett, not ushering many free passes, just one so far for the Hornets. And when you look at the way that the Cougars have played, just 31 walks and the 36 games. It's not including last game, so for the statisticians at home, you can add those up, but essentially they're allowing under a walk per game. Strong numbers for Averett. This one finds the zone, 1-2. One down, Strickland stands on first. Hold from Sullivan, pitch on the way. Just outside, maybe close to painting that corner. Sullivan, 14 complete games so far. The expectation here, if you're Coach Oberhelman, is probably that she's going to go the distance again. Strong candidate to do so. With no runs allowed, runner on the move. Strickland's going to be there easily. Nice backup from Jones to not allow that throw to go into center field, but Strickland is in a good spot now. Count is full. Once again, it really feels like 3 straight innings that Lynchburg has been knocking on the door, just no response. Can they break it open? DiNardo. Waiting, full count, fouled off. DiNardo, 321 average this season. Just 4 starts, but she has made now 22 appearances. Vote of confidence from the coaching staff when you know you can be counted on in the right situations. This is one of them on Moon Field as this one's fouled back. Almost came back and hit the umpire. There's a perfect spot along the netting where if you hit the pole, it's coming right back at you. You see it on the baseball field, Fox Field, some of the balls that hit the side of the building. Ricocheting back. Big time moment, 3-2 count. This one popped up into center. Easy stuff from the Cougars, and there is out number 2. So DiNardo fought hard, getting that pitch count up, but it might not be enough.
Kaylee Hackett.
Here's Kaylee Hackett, 2 down. So DiNardo was the pinch hitter for Addison Walter. In that 6 hole, it was Georgia Thompson, then Terrell, and then Strickland. We know softball a little different from baseball in that regard. You can have those substitutions in and out. This one fouled back, strong swing. Strickland still in scoring position. Hackett in this 8 hole. Trying to crack the code, 1-1 count. Sullivan can maybe escape a 3rd straight With runners in scoring position, hold that thought. This one out into center, runner on the way. Strickland is going to get there safely. That's the hit Lynchburg has been waiting for. Strickland in. Lynchburg ties it. Kaylee Hackett shows us some big-time performance stuff, standing on second. A single in the fifth, and now breaking through in the bottom of the sixth. The Hornets have tied it. You can take a breath if you are a Hornets fan. It has been a long wait, and the way that the pitching has gone, you had to expect it would not be an easy climb. Taylor Sullivan has done everything in the circle to hold Lynchburg at bay, but it is not enough as the Hornets have knotted it up. Time shown. Powell will step back. Another senior who could maybe break through. Going to be the RBI to propel Lynchburg into the lead. This is another pitch right in the zone, just couldn't get it. Those breadbasket pitches, it just feels like, especially the first one in the at-bat, can be trying to figure it out and time it up, but that hesitation, as we've touched on, Averett does not wait. The green light is always ready to go. Another one heading into right. Cougars will put it away. So we're tied at 1 through 6. We're going to have a fun finish on Moon Field heading to the top of the 7th. Crunch time in Lynchburg. Cougars want to rewrite the narrative. Cougars want to rewrite the narrative. Olivia Jones, first one out to right. There's out number 1. Not much movement needed from Powell. It brings in Abby Owen. Might need some extra innings to get this one finished, but Lynchburg would love to end it in the bottom of the 7th. They have to maneuver through the Cougars 6, 7, 8.
Now batting, first base number 8, Abby Owen.
Hannah Zabik will be on deck for Averett. 1-0 count for Charlton. Southpaw delivers. And that's in there for a strike. We talked about that losing streak earlier in the year for Lynchburg, and the thing that is really giving you a vote of confidence is the idea that even losing games, they haven't looked bad, as a liner is out at left field.
Now batting,
Talia Umtawa has been sensational. One of the defensive gears, the cogs, and all of that stuff that makes this Hornets defense have really been showing us what they can do. Now 2 outs. Back to that losing streak point. Lynchburg, this was really early in the year, but I think it was a really good indication of what you're going to see from the Hornets this season, and those 3 games that they lost. Oh, by the way, being Salisbury and TCNJ, not the easiest competition. They had 9 hits in each. So this one sneaks through for Averett, so maybe a breath of life with 2 outs. Zabik gets it done after the first 2 outs, and Kaylee Gates steps back up in the 9-hole. Pitch down in the dirt. Charlton this season, 4 complete games. Also has a save to her name. So 2 very different situations if you look at the 2 pitchers. You have Sullivan, who has almost gone the distance every appearance. Charlton a little all over the place, but I think the talent is there for both. This one grounded to short. Strickland had to take a second, fires to first. It was a tight play, but Strickland delivers. Lynchburg's defense on display again, and Averett might want to talk this thing over. It was about as close of a play as you're going to have the entire game. Bang, bang at first. Coach Oberhelman might not like it, but Lynchburg heads to the bottom of the 7th, a chance to walk things off here at Moon Field. Is it walk-off time here at Moon Field? We're about to find out. Lynchburg in a good spot to do so. Bottom of the 7th. This is when it starts to matter, and Carly Hudnall back up to the plate. This is exactly who you want, not just because it's your leadoff hitter, but she is 3 for 3 today, and it has been a stellar showing. 3 singles. You love when your leadoff hitter starts the inning, especially with that eye. That's a tough one, but goes down as a strike. 1-1. Hornets will have to battle. Averett making them earn everything they get, and the Cougars have done that against quite a few ODAC opponents. This one right down the third baseline, foul. Two strikes. If you're Sullivan here, you know what Hudnall is capable of doing, so you have to really make these pitches intentional. See where the placement is. Target outside. This one slapped to short. Going to be a tough play, and no play as Hudnall reaches safely. No outs. Runner on first for Lynchburg. 4 for 4. The Windy special for Carly Hudnall, and now Sarah Watts will step up to the plate. This could spell trouble. Watts, an 0 for 2 day, walked in her last plate appearance, and so she has yet to get that hit, but we do know she has quite a few this season. Coming in with 34. 4 for 4 last game. Crystal clear that she is someone who is always ready to swing the bat. Does Lynchburg want to deal with extras, or can they put it away now? The Cougars have put up a valiant fight, just not the run coverage to seal it, and this one into the outfield as well. Hudnall stops at second, station to station for Lynchburg. Averett doing everything they can to hold up the wall, but the pressure is brewing.
Left fielder number 17. First base number 16, Madison Barnes.
Here's Madison Barnes. And Averett wants to talk things over. Coach Oberhelman knows this is really the at-bat of the game. We'll see what the approach is for Lynchburg. You can start to taste it if you're a Hornets fan. It is right in front of you. 19-2 at home. This would be the big 2-0. final regular season game at Moon Field. And when you have 22 on your schedule, you have to love it, because you know that is not only the majority, but this is a game that features a lot of tournaments as well. You think about some of the early season tournaments for teams that are playing at neutral sites. You also consider the fact that the travel schedule in the summer revolves a lot around going new places, finding new things. Home turf really is just pretty special. The last time that these seniors have a regular season game at Moon Field, Madison Barnes can bring us home here in Lynchburg. Bunt shown, goes back to Sullivan, does the work, 1 out, runners advance. They now stand on second and third with Alyssa Taliumptua, the one chance to be the hero.
Number 17, Alyssa Taliumptua.
As clinical as it gets, had to imagine that was in the deck of cards, and now Lynchburg just needs anything in the outfield grass, a chance to end it. Can Sullivan create even more magic? She has maneuvered everything else. Slap to second. Play's going to have to be at home. It doesn't matter. The out's recorded. Lynchburg walks it off. Taliumptua able to do just enough, and the Hornets have 2 runs on the board. That's all you need at Moon Field. That is the conclusion of Lynchburg's regular season home campaign. It took a lot of extra work, but Charlton able to go a complete game again, the 5th this season, and she has just been rolling. So much to consider for Lynchburg. They are now 27-9, 15-5 in conference play, and sitting at that 4th spot in the conference. You know that it is such a close fight at the top. The season is far from over, but Lynchburg has some tough opponents on the way. Don't forget what's coming up for the Hornets. CNU, Randolph-Macon, battles that could really be the punctuation mark in what has been a phenomenal regular season. Lynchburg wants that run to continue into the postseason. They have big plans, and it was big-time stuff with a walk-off here on Moon Field. So 2 of 2 go to the Hornets today. Averett has to go home a little unsatisfied. They put up a strong fight and really good pitching from Sullivan, but it's not enough. Lynchburg wins it 2-1. It has been a fun time, a fun Saturday here on LHSN. We appreciate your support and viewership as always, and thanks for just making this a great regular season at home. We have had a lot of fun bringing the coverage to you. So on behalf of the entire LHSN staff, we always thank them for their work throughout this season. We are saying so long from the Hill City.